Okay, today we are going to be down here in the lab activities. We're going to be taking a look at this Powell weather assignment. You can read more on that. I'm just going to walk you through the process of what you need to do with the actual data. So this is a study that was done a few years ago on the growing season weather conditions in Powell. It was written by a student named Breno Almeida from Brazil, and what I'd like for you to do is read the introduction, objectives, materials, and methods, and then take a look at this table. This table has a lot of information on it. This is the growing season in Powell. So if we just look up here in the upper left-hand corner here, you can see that we've got our data by month from April to October. Then we have 4 different years: 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2013, and then we have a normal condition, an average of what you would expect for each one of those months. We have the same thing for average monthly temperature, the average monthly minimum temperature, the total monthly rainfall, the average monthly solar radiation, so how much solar energy is intersecting the surface of the Earth, and then average monthly reference evapotranspiration. You can see that these two sets of data right here don't actually have normals. We're going to fill in that information. Your job today is really, the end goal for your job is to be able to write a results section for this information. Okay, so what can we learn from this information about the growing season climate conditions? And in particular, we want to learn how these compare to the normal. How does each one of these years compare to the normal? And then we'll take a look at a little bit about how they compare to one another. Now, this data isn't digital. I don't have access to this data. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually to create an Excel spreadsheet. So I'll go ahead and go to Excel. And you're going to need to enter this data into Excel. In order to see both at the same time, I'm just going to click right here, and I'm going to drag it over to the side, and it's going to fill one side. I'm going to click my web browser and drag it over here, and it's going to show me the other side. So here, I might begin with, actually I'm going to move one line down. I'm going to begin with month, and then make it look as close as I can to what you see in the information to the right. Above this, I'm just gonna one thing you may want to do, I just forgot to do this, is insert, or you can just skip. If you're watching this, just know that you need to skip a cell between all of these. You need a cell in order to take a look at the data, in order to compare the data with the normal. Okay, I'm going to give this a title up here. I'm going to go ahead and select on all of these, and then I'm going to click on this to merge all those cells, and then I'm going to give it the same title that we see over here, over on the left-hand side. So, average monthly maximum temp. Okay. And then I'm going to go through a process of writing all of these in. So I'm going to type 57.5 here, 60.7, and I'm going to do that all the way down. And I'm going to do it for all of these years, and I'm going to also do the normal. So I'm going to just pause this, and I'm going to fill this in real fast. So at this point, I've filled in all of these yearly temperatures as well as the normal. The next thing I want to do is create a formula here. And that's going to be equal the normal minus that year's reading. I'm just going to hit enter. It's going to give me a decimal. Sometimes that's going to be positive. Sometimes it's going to be negative. I'm going to do that for each one of these. And again, you can click on this little box, that positive sign there. You can click on that and drag all the way down, and it'll go ahead and take that formula and calculate it for all of those. this one's our final one. Normal minus that year. And take that all the way down. So now you can start to see that certain months, so in this case when there's a negative number, what that means is that this June 2010 temperature was higher than the normal. Okay, it's just indicating a difference, right? This temperature here was cooler than the normal, or that is, the normal was this many degrees higher than this temperature. So what we're seeing here are again just differences between the normal compared to that year. One of the ways that we can sort of visualize this difference here is by using this conditional formatting area, and I'm just going to make this bigger so we can see it. I highlighted that, and I'm going to click on this conditional formatting and go to color scales, and then let's see what happens when we just hover over this one right there. And we see that when I do that, I'll go ahead and select that one. When we do that, the years, the instances where this number, say October of 2010, where this number right here is much hotter than the average, you've got a red. And that's good. That helps us understand and visualize that the red in here means a hotter month on average, or a hotter maximum temperature, a warmer maximum temperature than the normal. Okay. Now, if I did this each individually, and I went up here for each individual one, it would actually just use the numbers in here, and the scale may be a little bit different. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to select this, and then I'm going to hold down the Control key, and I'm going to select here. I've got the Control key held down right now, and I'm just clicking and dragging on each one of these, okay, each one of these comparisons. And I'm going to do the conditional formatting, the color scales, and I'm going to select the one that shows me. And again, as you move, you can see that it'll do different scales. But this one works out really nicely because the reds are on average. The reds are showing me the hotter temperatures. Greens are showing me the cooler temperatures. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I have a really nice table. I'm going to go ahead and maybe outline this. So I'm going to give it all a bunch of borders. And so now I have a really nice comparison of which years were hotter. So 2012 looks like it, on average, it was a hotter year, the hottest year of these four sets of years. Over here, you have roughly equal heats, and I'm not 100% sure. Hold on just a sec. Oh yeah. So see, one thing I did, and this is actually pretty good, I saw that this year was exactly the same as that year, and that can't be the case. So what I need to do is I need to go in here and change this this formula here. I need to make sure that it's this minus, and if you're a good student, you probably caught that initially. Okay, I'm going to change that formula all the way down. Okay, now I have good readings. Okay, so I can see this year was most likely the cooler year by comparison. Okay, so I've got that for one. Once you've done that for one of your sets of data, you can go ahead, and I'm going to move this back over real fast. You can go ahead and select this whole table, and then you can copy this, and then move down a line or two, and you can just paste. You can just paste right there. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here and change this to take out that, because what I'm going to do is go to the next one, average monthly temperature. Now, it would be nice if I could just delete these are good. This is exactly how I want it. Everything else is how I want it. But if I could just change these numbers in here, that would be a lot better. So I don't only have to type in those numbers. Everything's going to be calculated. The colors are going to be calculated or created for me instantaneously. So what I'll do is I'll select this. I'm going to hold down again the Control key. I've got the Control key held down, and I'm just going to select each group here. And it's going to select all of them at once. And I'm going to just right click on any one of those cells, and I'm going to say clear contents, clear contents. Everything goes to 0, but once I start typing things in, like 44.1 here, 48.7 here, and then once I start filling in the normals as well, 44.4 here, and 53.9 here, you can see that it's going to start to automatically change things. Now, until I get both all this information and all the normal information, it might look a little weird. But once I get this in and that in and then this row in, it'll start changing. It'll look a lot more like this. So you can just again go to this one, copy it, create a new one, and so forth. When you get to the point where you need to do solar radiation and evapotranspiration, over here you see that on the normals we don't have a normal here. So what you need to do is to make an average of these four numbers. And I'm just going to show you how to do that real fast down here, but when you copy this and create your new table, I'll show you how to do it. So I'll pretend like we've got this table down here. So I've got the number 21.9, and over here I'm going to have 17.8. I'm just following these numbers right over here. I have 21.0, and then I have 19.4. And let's say this is where I need my normal, my average. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a formula, and that formula is equals average. Okay, and then you can put a parentheses, and then you just need to select the numbers. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to put a comma in there. Click on the next one, comma, next one, comma, next one, comma. So it's going to select all those numbers, and actually I don't need that last comma. And I'm going to end the parentheses. I'm going to hit enter, and it gives me the average for those four numbers. Now I can go, when I copy my table down and I do this, now I can go in and I can calculate the difference between the normal and the year's reading. So when you get to these two, you'll need to make the average yourself, make that normal, quote unquote normal yourself, so that then you can do all the comparisons. Once you have these tables all finished, what you can do is you can copy this table. I'm going to go open up Word, and you need to paste in the table. So you probably want to put your name here. And you can paste in that table. Okay. Below it, you can begin to write your results for that particular table. And typically, you want to write at least maybe three things, three results that you see when you're comparing, maybe between these years or between 2010 and the normal. So 3 conclusions would be pretty good. On Moodle, I point out under the actual weather assignment there, I point out some of the things you can think of. You can think about when writing your results right there. What does the data show you about that factor over a given year? So what does it look like over a given year? What does the data show you about the year-to-year differences? So what happens when I compare these years to one another? And then what are the differences between the years and the normals? And that's actually what you're seeing, the color coding that you're seeing there. So you'll need to write that up in this Word document, and then this is what you'll turn in to Moodle.